All right, welcome everyone. Happy Thursday. I am excited to have you here for today's webinar on website integration and getting things set up and connected to your website in Jackrabbit. My name is Tammy Colvin, and I am the training coordinator for Jackrabbit. Some of you, I recognize a few names. I've met you in person or in another webinar, so we're happy to have you guys here. On the webinar with me today, I have Ed Murray, who is a member of our support team and also on our integration team. Ed, are you there?
I am here.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Ed. I'm going to turn things over to him in just a minute. But before we do, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping things that we have on the webinar today. Everyone is muted. That's just really to make it a more enjoyable webinar experience for everyone, to cut down on dogs barking, children in the background, all those unexpected things that always seem to happen when you're online or on the phone. So if you have questions as we're going throughout the webinar today, you should have a question and answer interface with your Zoom controls. You might need to move your mouse around a little bit for it to pop up if you're just watching your screen and not being active with your computer. And you can type in your questions there as we go throughout the webinar. We'll have time at the end of the webinar where Ed will answer questions and we'll be able to help you from there. So we're excited to get this underway shortly. The other thing I wanted to point out is that you will receive a copy of this recording about 24 hours after we wrap today. So sometime tomorrow afternoon, you'll get a recording with a link to today's webinar. And it'll be something you can refer back to if you have questions or want to share with colleagues. And as always, don't forget you can reach out to our support team if you think of questions after the webinar ends today. We've got a great integration team that's ready to answer any questions you might have if we don't get to them today. You'll see up on your screen 2019 classroom trainings. If you haven't seen us in a classroom yet, we really encourage you to do so. We've got a few more basics classes set up for the rest of the year, two in Huntersville, which is right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we're doing one in Dallas, Texas this year. Our basics are 2-day classes, really starting at the beginning, kind of covering a little bit of everything. So we'd love to see you there. And then our Beyond the Basics classes are 1-day classes, much faster pace. These are structured a little bit differently where we really cover the topics that that particular class needs that day. I teach a majority of those, and I'll start the day off by saying, okay, what topics do we have to cover today based on the clients that are in attendance? So those are great ones. Our next one coming up is in Vancouver in April, and we're going to Miami in April. We've got them across the US and Canada, so definitely check that out. And then our Boost user conferences. We just had our East one a couple of weeks ago in Charlotte, and we have confirmed our West one for November 18th through 20th. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Vegas. And for those of you who've joined us at one before, we've got a new venue. We're going to be announcing details and specifics on that soon, but a brand new venue in Vegas that we are so excited to share the experience with everyone. So check us out there. And on that note, I'm going to call it a wraps and pass it on over to Ed. He's going to go over a few more slides with you, and then he's going to take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to have you all here with us today. All right, so let's get started off with the social media. So to keep up to date with what's happening with Jackrabbit, be sure to join our Facebook users group if you haven't already. We actually have two user groups. One is for our Care Edition, and the other is for all other database editions. You can follow us on Instagram. You can join us on YouTube and see all the instructional videos we have available. You can also subscribe and hit the little blue bell so you get alerted when a new training video has been posted. And then, of course, there is our intercom. It's a little blue icon you see at the bottom right corner of your database when you're on your executive dashboard. First and foremost, my goal in this webinar is to help you get an understanding of the fundamentals so that you'll be able to take what you learned today and apply it to your organizations. With that being said, I want to take a moment and let you know that if you're a developer that's not interested in using the methods we're going over in this webinar, we do have a JSON file that can be emailed to you. You just need to send an email to onlinereg@jackrabbittech.com to let us know you want one, and we'll get it out to you. All right, so we'll be using some generic examples on a couple of my test website platforms. The platforms we'll be using are Adobe Muse and WordPress. Before we get into all of that, let's take a quick look at what we'll be going over today. So we're going to start off by looking at some examples of other Jackrabbit users' websites. This is just to see how some of our users integrate our system with their websites. We're going to go over database settings. So we'll go over how you need to have things set up in your database to allow Jackrabbit to integrate with your websites. Now, the approach I'm going to take with this is I'll be showing you how the settings need to be set up topic by topic, as opposed to throwing them all at you at once. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change the screen I'm sharing. And the reason I'm doing this is so that we have a little bit more room to work with. So what you'll notice is on the left side, I have a text editor, and that's just so that we can take all the code and jot it down there, and any changes we make, we can have it there and we'll be able to easily see it. So give me just a second while I get everything set up here. All right, so now we get the little pointer that you can see a little bit better. All right, so on the right side is going to be where all the work is going to happen. So left side is for jotting down code, right side is for all the work that's going to happen. All right, so we said we're going to start off by looking at some examples of other users and how they integrate Jackrabbit with their websites. An easy way for you to see a bunch of examples is to click on the help button here. Then you'll click on the Help Center and make that go away. Now, there's a couple ways you can get to our help articles. There's a button right here, which will take you to a page that has everything kind of put out in a single page. Or you can hit the little hamburger icon on the upper left-hand corner, and then you'll have a list like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to the online integration section. And then we're going to go to client website examples. All right, so as you can see, there's a bunch of different organization business models here. Don't let that scare you from taking a look at different models, because this will give you a pretty good idea of different examples you can choose from. So for instance, if I clicked on this grouping here, it's going to give me a few different websites I can choose from. All I would do is just click on the link here, and it'll take me to that website. All right, so for the sake of time of conserving time, we are going to. I had a couple already set up, and of course, I left out some things we're going to be going over on our agenda. So the first thing we're going to start with is looking at one of the websites here. So this is Baron Gymnastics, and as you can see, they have the class listing table here. By default, the register button will normally show blue, but they've done a couple of things with their styling that made it look a little bit different, and they've hidden various columns, which you'll see a little bit later on today. They don't really use too many buttons as far as sending people to the web registration form, but we will go over doing that so that you're able to do that for your websites. Another website I pulled out was for Miller Street Dance Academy. So if you go down here, this right here is actually a class listing table, but there's only one class in that table. And as we go down a little lower, they have their classes, the class listing table set up in somewhat of an accordion menu style. So for each different day, They have classes that are geared for that day. And that was done by just filtering the day. And we'll kind of touch on that just a little bit later. All right, so what we're going to actually start off with is creating a button or a hyperlinked text that will take someone to your web registration form. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my executive dashboard, and then I'm going to click on the help button. And then I'll go to the Help Center. And this time I'm going to use the button for Help Articles and select Online Integration. And then we are going to go into the website Online Integration and Overview. So with any topic in the Help Center, it's good to start off with the overview article, because it just gives you an idea of all the different things that can be done within a feature of Jackrabbit. So in this particular case, when we look at creating the link that would send someone to your web registration form, this would be where we would find it. Just the beginning of it. The red X's, anytime you see red X's like this, that means they want you to take the X's out and enter your information. So I am going to take this, copy that, and I'm going to bring it over here and paste it. So now what I need is I need my organization ID to go there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my dashboard, go to Tools, and then I'm going to select Online Web Registration. And this right here is where I find my organization ID. I'm going to copy that. And then we'll paste that here. Right, so if I was to copy this code right here and put it directly into a web browser, it would take me to my web registration form. All right, so now let's look at adding that to a WordPress website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize this page, and this is the back end of my WordPress website. All right, so when it comes to adding an element in WordPress, WordPress is somewhat of a block editor. So I can either pick this plus to add a block, or I can pick this plus to add a block. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this plus. And if you had never really used this, the most used tools would not show up. So I'm gonna go ahead and hide that. And I am going to go into the search for a block. I'm going to type button, because what I want to do is I want to create a button. I'm going to click on that. And then right where it says paste URL or type to search, I'm going to go ahead and paste that right there and then apply it. Don't really like the way this button looks, so I'm going to change some things about it. I'm going to make it square. And then I'm going to add text to it. The text I'm going to add is class. Right. All right, so basically all I'm doing here is taking a shape and hyperlinking it to our web registration form. Let's just say I wanted to do that with text. Let's just say I wanted just to have a paragraph and then a place where someone can just click on the text, and it will send them to my web registration form. To do that, I will click on the add block again, and I'm going to click this paragraph. And then from here, I will say, wait, since I'll learn how to type. Yep, so all I need to do now is highlight that, go to the little chain, which is a link, and paste that URL, paste the URL, excuse me, and apply it. All right, so now let's go ahead and preview this and see what it looks like in WordPress. All right, so now we have a button and some text. So if I click on a button, it takes me here. And if I click on the text, it also takes me here. All right, so that's all that really needs to happen to create a web registration form. Or excuse me, not just create the web registration form, but to create a link that takes your customers to a web registration form. All right, so now let's take a look at the parent portal. Now with the parent portal, there are a couple of things that you have to make sure are in place inside of your database. And I'll show you what those are. So let's go back to my test database. And I'm going to hover over tools and then go to parent portal. Then I'm going to head over to settings. All right, so in order to make sure someone can even use your parent portal, you have to make sure that this activate parent portal, or excuse me, activate portal button has been clicked. And this will make sure that your parent portal is active. Now, also, when it comes to your parent's ability to look at classes and select classes in a parent portal, you have to make sure that in your classes, I'll go to one class in particular. You need to make sure that allow portal enrollment is set to yes. All right, so that is how this particular class will show in the parent portal during a time that would allow them to register for the class or enroll in the class. All right, so with that being said, in order to create the link to your parent portal, I'm going to show you a different way to find that link, and it also works with the web registration form, but I'm going to show you how to do it with the parent portal. So I'm going to go back to that portal settings page, and I'm going to click on this go to the parent portal link. And right up here is a link to our parent portal. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that URL. And I'm going to bring it over to my editor and paste it there. All right, so now instead of using the WordPress, I am going to go over to Muse. So Muse is an Adobe product. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a button. And the reason I'm going to use it here is because I'm going to show you just how easy it is for a button to be created. So I'm going to click on this shape builder and build a little rectangle there. I'm going to fill it in black. And then I'm going to take some text. I am going to make sure that that text is white. So let's get in there. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And we'll make this text a little bit bigger. And we'll make sure that text is white. And we'll call this parent portal. Make that a little bit bigger. All right, so that way it's a little bit easier to see. All right, so now I'm going to select that square, and we're going to go to hyperlinks. And I'm going to add this link right there. And then we'll preview this. And now if I click on that, it takes me to my parent portal login page. All right, so let's come out of that preview. Same thing here, if I was to add text, and then select it. And let's find, there we go. Couldn't find that, folks. Sorry about that. Paste that. And now when we preview this, and I click that, and there I am. So that's really all there is to linking your parent portal and your web registration form. All right, so let's look at your events calendar. So when it comes to linking your events calendars, it's very similar to what we just did. So I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to go back to my database. And we're going to go home. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over tools, and then we're going to go to online web registration, events and calendar registration. I'm going to click on the view monthly events calendar. And then this is right here. I'm going to bring this over here so you can see it a little bit better. This right here is the link to my event calendar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy that and paste that there. And then we're going to close this out. All right, so I think you guys are seeing a little bit of a pattern here. In order to link that, we're going to go over to our WordPress website. Close that. And we're going to add another element. We'll use this button element. We are going to paste that element there, apply it, come here. You guys know I don't really like that particular shape. I'm going to go there, and we'll title this Event Calendar. And while we're at it, we will add some text. Select it, little link guy, paste, apply. Preview. And now when I click on this event calendar, it'll take me to an event calendar. And the event calendar can be moved forward into different months or backwards. I currently don't really have many events on my website, or excuse me, on my test database. With events, you need to make sure that in the event type, so I'll use this birthday, for instance, that the display to customers is set either to open dates only, open and book dates only. If you set it to no, it will not show on your event calendar. So let's actually create a date and time so that it will show on the event calendar. So I'm going to add an event. We're going to go we're going to set this up for tomorrow through tomorrow. And tomorrow's Friday. And we'll say I'm the teacher. Save it. Make sure it's display open dates only. In this particular case, we can also have it be open and book dates. That's just fine. And now when we go back to here and we preview, when I go to my event calendar, there's that birth date. So it happens right away. All right, so now we're going to go over another area, and that is classes and tables that are not embedded in your website. All right, so let's just say I have my website and I don't want to put the full class listing table here. I just want to have it linked to a separate page that has all my that has my classes on them. All right, so what I can do is let's go back to my database. What I can do is create a link, and I'm going to use the Help Center to help me out with this one. So we go to the Help Center. Then we're going to go to help articles, online integration, and we'll go to the website online integration overview. All right, so there are two different ways you can have class listing tables either shown on your website or linked from your website to the class listing table. The one we're going to look at is going to be right here, linking to a new page. So there's very little difference between this code and embedding the codes, except for the embedding codes has this JS, and there will be some more coding around it, and we'll get to that in a little bit later. But for creating a button or a hyperlink text that will show your class listing tables on a separate page, you need to use the one with direct openings direct on it. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to bring this over to my text editor. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my organization ID. Right. So what I'm going to do now is we are going to go over to my WordPress website. Close that. And we're going to create another button as well as some more text. We'll add this full code right here. Here. And I'll leave that button the shape it is. Apply it. Add another block, paragraph. Select it. Hyperlink it. And apply. Then we'll preview the site. And when I click on this button, it takes me to my class listing tables without any changes. So a class listing table without any changes will have a register column, a class column, a description column, days, times, gender, ages, openings, and so on and so forth. All right. So with that being said, maybe I don't care for the way this is looking. Okay, so let's just say I don't really care for the way the descriptions is making my table look, because to be quite honest, this is not particularly attractive. So what I want to do is I want to be able to remove that description column from here. So what I'm going to do is just pull up my database again. I already have the Help Center up, so I'm not going to go backwards with that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to the online integration groupings. I'm going to select class listing tables. And I'm going to select customize your class listing tables with HTML codes. Here you'll see a group of articles that show you how to customize your class listing table to show the way you want it to. All right, so with that being said, all of these codes that we're about to add here are going to work for both types of class listing tables displays. And again, I'll show that in a little bit later. Right now, it probably isn't going to make a whole lot of sense to everybody. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select the hide columns in your class listings table article. Right here is basically all the different columns you can hide from your class listing table. All right, so I am interested in getting rid of the description, which is right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this little bit of code right here. So this and hide cols equal. I'm going to add that right to this. Oops, sorry. And I'm going to write description. So I'm going to write description exactly the way I see it, because some browsers will penalize you for not putting capitals when you should, and others won't. So it just really depends. I don't like to leave it to chance, so I just make sure that I write it the way it's supposed to be written the first time. So I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab all of that. Okay, I lost it. Let's try that again. We'll grab all of that, copy it, and I'm going to go back to my WordPress website. And I am going to manipulate this particular code. So I'm just going to go ahead and take all of this away because it's hard to see anyway. And paste that there. And then we'll update it. So now when I preview this, that button is going to take me to a slightly different looking class listing tables page. If I use this one, let's go backwards. My apologies. If I use this one, I get this. And if I use this one, I get this. So as you can see, it's really about the code that you're writing, not as much about our end. So we'll give you as much information as you ask for in the code and as little as you ask for in the code as well. All right, so let's see. So we're going to kind of leave that alone for right now. We'll add a couple more changes in the look when we move on to embedding the code into your website so that the class listing table shows up on one of your web pages. All right, so with that being said, we are going to go back to our help center here, and we're going to move back in pages. And actually, we are going to go back again. We go to the overview. Passed it. My apologies. All right, so we're going to class listing tables, and overview. That's the overview I wanted. All right, so as we scroll down, all right, so now we are looking at using this particular URL address. So now we are going to use the openings.js. Let me go ahead and copy that and bring that over here. And then we'll move back to the class listings, the online integration. Come here. All right, so we're going to go into the create custom class listing tables in 4 steps article. And as you scroll down, this right here is the full script that we're looking for. So it starts off with script type equals job, all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to go ahead and grab that, copy it, make that go away. That should be copying. It is not. All right, here we go. Now we're on the money. Let's take those X's away and add my organization ID. All right, so before we move on to that, let's look at our database, okay? Because I totally forgot we need to go back and make sure our settings are correct there. So we are going to go over to one of our classes. We'll pull this one up. All right, so right down here, this is where the magic happens when it comes to showing things on your website. So in order for this table to even be displayed on my website, whether it be my website or we're using that direct code that we used earlier, display on website has to be set to yes. In order to allow registration to happen, so in other words, to make the little register button show up on the class listing table, allow web registration has to be set to yes. This is also necessary for when someone uses the web registration form in order to let them register for classes that way. All right, so we've got those all set to yes. Now there's one more place that you do have to make sure is set to yes as well, and I think this one gets overlooked quite often. So we'll hover over tools, and then we're gonna go down to online web registration. We'll go to settings. We're gonna scroll down to where it says class listing tables on your website. Show register links needs to be set to yes, or else they will not show. So that whole row will be gone regardless of how you've set the classes up. All right, so just keep that in mind. This has to also be set to yes. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go over to my Muse website, and we are going to add this code from here and bring it over here. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to hover this object here, and then I'm going to click on the Insert HTML. From there, a box shows up. Let's make sure I have this code here copied. And we're going to put that here. Paste that. I'm going to bring this, oops. All right, so let's let that load. All right, so now here we are again. We have my pure table with nothing changed. We're going to go ahead and preview this. Actually, I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and preview this. And now you see the table is directly in my website. If I was to click on this register here, all right, let's preview this in the browser. All right, so if I clicked on this, it's going to take me to the web registration form. And right there is a class we chose, so it's been pre-filled. If I wanted to choose another class, then I would just select choose another class, and I could do that way. All right, so let's go away from there. And we'll move away from there. And then we're going to go back to bring up our Muse. All right, so just like before, we didn't particularly like the description, so we're going to go ahead and hide those descriptions. All right, so let's make this go, and then we will take that code. Bring it over here, and then we did something wrong. Well, I did something wrong. Oh, I put descriptions. You can't put descriptions. So remember how I said it has to be exact? Perfect example of when something has to be exact. And now descriptions are gone. Let's go ahead and minimize that. All right, so now let's go look at some of the other filters that we have to choose from here. So I am going to go here, and we'll go backwards. And now we'll go to hide columns again. All right, so I don't want to see gender. So I'm going to go ahead and take gender off as well. So we're going to take that, bring it here, take it over here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to say hide columns equals again. All I'm going to do is put a comma, no space, and then I'm going to put gender in there, no space. And when you take that code, put that here. And now my gender is gone from over here. All right, so let's take a look at some other things that we can do to customize this. All right, let's just say I want to limit the classes that I want to see. So I only want classes to show for the summer. So let's look at how we can filter down the table so that way we can only show the tables that we want as opposed to all of the different classes. So I'm going to click on the filter your class listing tables article, and we'll scroll down. And these right here are all the different filtering parameters you can use. So you can either have it filtered by location, session, any of your category, category 1, 2, or 3, the days, as you saw with Milder Street. You can even do gender, room, and instructor ID. All right, so those are the different ways that you can actually, or those are the different categories you can filter down for. So I think what I want to do is I want to use session. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this and session equals. And I'm going to bring it, I like to put this right behind the organization ID. All right, now I need to figure out what that session is called. All right, so let me go back to my database. I'm going to hover over tools, and then I'm going to go to edit settings. I'll go to drop down lists, session. So what I want is I want my 2019 summer session. That's all the classes I want to show here. So we have 2019, and then there's a space, and then summer that starts with an S. So with that space, you can't put a space in this code inside of these parentheses. So how do we do that? What will we have to do to make that happen? Let me show you. So we're gonna use, and we're gonna go to customize your listing, class listing tables, tricks for query strings. All right, so what that really is that's just telling you how to, all the things you can add to this area behind the organization ID. All right, so when I have a special character, which is a space is considered a special character, I have to put something to let the browser know that it's a space so that it doesn't break the code. So in this case, I need the %20 as my space. So we had 2019 space summer. So let's come over here to the and session, and we're going to go 2019 %20 summer. I'm going to copy that. Go back to Muse. Paste it, and we're off. We still have that typo in description that I have not fixed. That I'm going to fix now. All right, so now you'll notice that only my summer session classes are showing here. All right, so this article shows you, not this article. This article shows you everything that you can use as a filter. Let's say I wanted to add another a category 1. Let's just use the category 1 as an example. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to bring that here. We'll paste this here, and I'm going to use jazz. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and copy all this. And now instead of going to Muse, we are going to go over to WordPress. Close that. All right, so let's add in a block element. All right, so again, if that didn't have any comment blocks, this would be what it looks like. I'm going to go over to formatting. I'm going to select custom HTML. Code is a very tempting one to use, but it does not work for what we are using it for. We're going to use custom HTML. We're going to make sure that the HTML is highlighted here. I'm going to go ahead and paste that. And we will preview this. And now, oh, look at that. We have borders in our table. So this is a popular thing a lot of people want to see happen. And what that is the way that this website editor is styling this table. So if you remember, my Muse website didn't have any of those borders. This does. So that is actually found in the styles sheet, and that is something that is outside of the parameters of what we normally help organizations with. That would be something that you would have to have a web designer look at, or something that you would need to have in your web builder. I will give you an amazing example of that. So if I went to the home page, that looks very different, and that's because I'm using a different a different theme there. So I'm going to go back to my WordPress. I'm going to select all my pages. We're going to leave that. All right, so I'm going to come here, and this is a live editor, so this looks a little bit different. So I'm using the theme called Optimize Press 2 for this particular page. All right, so I am going to take this out, and I am going to add another element. And for this, it's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to use HTML. Oh, look at that, it already pops up. So custom HTML / shortcode. Don't worry about the shortcode, that's for other stuff. Click that, right click. There's all the stuff that we got from there. It's over here now. Click insert. Well, you don't really see a good preview, but when I save and continue, and I click on view public link, this is how the public will see it. And that's all my jazz classes associated with summer. That looks pretty little. So I'm going to make a little change in that because I'm not particularly happy with how little that looks because it's hard to tell. I'm going to take this out. Insert it. Now let's save that guy. And so it's just a little bit longer. All right. So with that being said, we're getting close to the end of things, and I've become Mr. Run On, so I'm getting a little long-winded here. So that's those are the filtering parameters, so you can make your class listing table a little bit shorter. Let's go back. No, I don't want to do that. Let's go back this way. And with that being said, so now you can actually sort your rows. So let's look at sorting columns. So when the class listing shows up, it shows up in whatever order, in no particular rhyme or reason for the most part. What this does is this gives me the ability to filter my sort and sort by one of these different parameters, okay? One of the most popular to use is days. So in order to sort, I would use this little code right here, and sort equals. So let's go ahead and use that. Let's copy that, and we're gonna put that back here in the back end. We'll paste it, and then we'll say days. So this is the days of the week. And then I also have it use start time. All right, so now we're looking at, it's going to sort by the days and the start time. All right, I am going to take away any of this stuff because I want a longer table to be shown. I'm going to pull that, copy it, and then we're going to go back over to WordPress. I'm going to use this one again. We're going to paste that guy, insert it. All right, so you'll notice your Mondays, this has Monday in it, so that's why it's still falling in there. Wednesdays, so on and so forth. There's something not going on right there, so let's fix that. Let's find out what's wrong with that.
Ed, go back and look. I think I know what it is.
All right, where is it at?
Go back and look at your public link because I think you're fine. Um, I think it sorts by days and start time based on the classes, and the classes are alphabetical. Click on View Public Link once you
Okay.
save it.
All right, so we've got Mondays, Fridays, Mondays, Fridays. All right,
You
so
see what
let's,
it's doing? Like it's got Hip Hop 1, then all the Mondays, Fridays. Then Hip Hop 2, all the Mondays, Fridays. It's doing it by alphabetical of the class.
that's not how I wanted it to function.
And you guys see, sometimes it's trial by fire with all of us.
I will try not to take you guys down my dark road. All right, we're going to save that. Well, that made sense. All right, let's take all that out. All right, so something's going on with the code a little bit there. I don't want to spend too much time correcting this because it'll take me another 2 minutes to get it done. Oh, I see what it is now. All right, it's all fixed now.
And that's a really good, Ed, thank you. I know you didn't intend to do this, but it's a really good point that we try to help you guys understand is sometimes one little thing being in the wrong place or one simple letter being left off of something can
And there she
skew things.
blows. All right, so this is how it's supposed to. This is how it's supposed to how it's supposed to act. All right. So all your Mondays are together, including that Monday. All your Wednesdays are together. Then your Fridays. So that is how it's supposed to react. What happened was over here in this code, I put and sort in front of here, and it just didn't do anything. And it went after that sort, and it didn't pay attention to this and sort. So that's what happened with that particular line of code. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to save myself, hopefully, and open things up to the Q&A. So hopefully I can answer those questions a little bit better than I wrote code there.
Okay, fantastic. So so for you guys in our last little bit, if you've got questions, go ahead and send them in as we're wrapping things up. Ed, you've got one from Trey, and Trey, you may need to expand just a little bit more. Trey has asked, when trying to select a different class that did not present well, how can we improve that? So I'm not, Ed,
Oh
if
yeah,
you
I don't get
know
that quite.
exactly what he means, go for it. Otherwise, Trey, if you want to expand a little bit, that would be fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not exactly sure what he means by that. That'd be awesome.
okay, he said during the embedded JavaScript example for selecting a different class.
Different. I'm sorry. I'm still not. Do you understand that question? I'm not totally
I
understanding it.
don't, and I am so,
Yeah.
so sorry, Trey. During it was, let me see. Hang
Trey,
on.
if
Question
also
for, okay.
if we can't understand your question, please reach out to us because I do want to get your question answered because I'm sure I can answer it. I just have to understand it better.
He said you had hip hop one selected.
Uh-huh.
That's all. Do you see the Ed? Can you see the questions on your end?
No, I can't actually.
Okay, so
Uh, yeah, I
okay,
can't
he
see.
said you had hip hop one selected and tried to choose another class.
I didn't. All I did, that was just a demonstration of being able to do it. I'm sorry, Trey. So what I was showing was that it'll preload the class I picked in the class listings table. And I was just demonstrating that if I wanted to select another class, I can click on this button to select another class, and then I can pick a different class. Now, if he's referring to the fact that the class listing the classes that were listed inside of that web registration form were looking a little different. The fact is we can't actually sort those. There are ways to hide some columns and there also if I needed to, but that would be an addition, some additional code. And I could definitely, if you're looking to affect that, we can definitely help you with that. Just shoot us over a ticket and we'll help you out there.
Awesome. Our next question, thank you, Ed. Our next question is from Amanda. Is there a way to allow customers to browse classes without filling out the entire registration form?
Okay, so that all depends on the way you have your settings and web registration. So if there's certain requirements that affect the classes that are going to show, you'll have to fill in those requirements. And when that person clicks on the select additional classes, a little warning window will pop up and say, "Hey, you have to answer this." Like a lot of times it'll, if you have gender requirements, and the person doesn't fill in a gender for the student, it will say, "Hey, we need a gender. We need to know what gender this student is." So yes, you could, but it all depends on how you have what requirements you have in order for your classes to be shown, and if that particular person filled in those requirements.
And I'll tag on to that as well, Amanda. That is one of the reasons so many places put class listings tables on their website, because then the parents can just go see the tables themselves before they ever even get to the registration form.
Yes, I totally agree with that. That's what I love about them.
Yeah, and if it's a parent that's already in your database and they happen to hit that register link, they'll get a note or a warning that says, if you're a current customer, go to the parent portal. So they'll see that as well. Okay, Ed, hi from Sandy. Can you please tell me more about changing colors on the class table? Where can I see all colors available? For example, I use blue, but is it possible to add a color code to change the type of blue? Thank you.
Yes, you can do that. Okay, so here's a little bit of a trick with our JavaScript coding, and our that and where those classes are coming from. We do have to. You cannot use the hex code for for the font colors. You have to use a blue or crimson or red. And yes, you can change those colors. I can. I would need to. I mean, that's gonna. It would take me a little bit longer than I think we have to really show you how to do that. And I could definitely help you get the colors you want. But you would. I think that might be a support ticket deal. But but we can. I mean, you can. I mean, Tam, if you think we have the time for it, I can do it. But if not,
I
um,
would say since we're already after two, I would say no. But Ed, I'm going to throw you under the bus live
come
here.
on,
How so?
come on.
If Sandy were to send in a ticket and say, "Hey, I was working with Ed," would that be all right? A
Yeah, come
support
on.
ticket?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So Sandy, go into your
Come get me.
you click in your database, click on the question mark and fill out a ticket and just say, I was working with Ed on the webinar. And that way the ticket will get assigned to him directly and he already knows what you're talking about. And that way you guys can email back and forth or set up a call if needed.
And quite honestly, anyone on our team will be able to
Mhm.
help as well. And if they and anytime any of us has a problem, we will collaborate with one another. So we will find your answer if it's there to be found.
Absolutely. There's a great integration team. So if it happens to be you send it in and Ed's off work for the day or he's on vacation or something, we've got enough team members that somebody will make sure you've got an answer. And she said, thanks. She'll fill out a ticket and drop Ed's
Perfect.
name.
Bring it. Yeah, bring it. Bring it. I love it. It's
Awesome.
my favorite thing to do, y'all.
All
Honestly.
right. So, any other questions? One last call. I want to respect your time and go ahead and wrap this up, but don't want to leave anyone hanging. As we mentioned at the top of the hour, you will get an email tomorrow afternoon with a link to this recording if you want to go back and refer to things. I know for me, sometimes I'll be listening and then not think of my question till later and want to go back and refer to it. So, you'll have that as an option. And then if you have any other follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out to support. They will get the question straight to the integration team and make sure you've got all the answers and help you need. All right, Ed, I am not seeing any additional questions. So, oh, wait, one more. It says, great webinar. We have a Wix website for our music school. Do you foresee any problems inputting code there for class listings table?
You need to reach out to us. Wix is a special place at this moment. So I do have answers for Wix, but that is a whole separate deal. So please send in a ticket for that, and I will help you because we are finding some challenges with Wix at the moment. But I do have a solution for those.
And we got a response back. Thought so. Thanks. Fantastic.
Bring
All
it.
right.
I do have a solution. So.
Yeah, all right. Fantastic. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you in another webinar soon. And Ed, thanks again for giving us some great information to
Man,
chew on for the afternoon.
that's my absolute joy and pleasure, guys. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.